When we hear the word shalom, we usually think of peace. But shalom is so much more than the absence of conflict. It means wholeness, harmony, completion, a sense of balance that touches every part of life, within ourselves, between people, and even across the world. In this course, we'll explore the deeper meaning of shalom as it appears in the Hebrew Bible and in rabbinic thought. We'll see how shalom is not just a feeling, but a vision of how the world ought to be. Shalom is a call to justice, to relationship, to inner and outer peace. Together, we'll uncover how this single word connects personal well-being, moral integrity, and cosmic harmony. And by the end, you'll see how shalom can shape your own life, how you live, relate, and lead. So welcome. Let's begin our journey into the true meaning of shalom. When we say shalom, we're saying much more than just peace. In Hebrew, shalom comes from a root that means wholeness or completeness. This root also gives rise to the word shalemut, which means perfection or fulfillment. So from the very beginning, shalom carries the idea of things being made whole, of harmony restored, and nothing missing. It's a word about completion, not just calm. In Jewish thought, the meaning of shalom reaches far beyond politics or the absence of war. It's not only about nations at peace or people getting along. Shalom stretches across every part of life: physical well-being, moral integrity, and spiritual harmony. Ultimately, shalom points to something even greater, a cosmic principle, a reflection of the divine order that holds everything together. It's not only the goal of peace among people, but a glimpse of divine perfection itself. So when we greet someone with shalom, we're wishing them far more than quiet or safety. We're blessing them with wholeness, body, mind, and soul, aligned with the harmony of creation. In the Hebrew Bible, shalom most often describes a state of well-being, a life marked by wholeness, tranquility, prosperity, and security. It refers to circumstances that are unblemished, complete, and at peace, a reflection of divine favor. In this sense, shalom is not just a human achievement, it's a blessing, a sign of God's grace resting upon people and their world. When David asks in the book of 2 Samuel, "How was the war prospered?" he's literally inquiring about the shalom of the battle. In other words, he's asking, "Is all well?" Or, "How are things truly going?" This everyday use shows that shalom goes far beyond treaties or the absence of conflict. It's about well-being in every sphere: personal, communal, physical, and spiritual. To ask about someone's shalom is to care about the full condition of their life, their safety, their spirit, their peace of mind. Of course, shalom can also mean the opposite of war, as in Ecclesiastes 3:8, a time for war and a time for peace. Even here, the word carries more depth than a truce. It describes the restoration of order, the renewal of prosperity, the calm after turmoil. In several passages, shalom even becomes a moral value, a synonym for justice, loyalty, and integrity. As the prophets Zechariah and Malachi teach, peace is not just an outcome, it's a way of living rightly in relationship with others and with God. So, when the Bible speaks of shalom, it's speaking of the good life in its fullest sense, a life in balance, blessed by wholeness, and grounded in divine harmony. In the teachings of the rabbis, shalom becomes something more than a condition or blessing. It becomes an ethical principle, a moral calling. In rabbinic literature, shalom means overcoming conflict, preventing strife, and restoring relationships. It is both a gift from God and a duty of every human being. For the sages, shalom was not only the end of hostility, but the active pursuit of understanding, kindness, and reconciliation. They taught that making peace, whether between friends, between spouses, or between communities, is a sacred act. As one text declares, "He who establishes peace between man and his fellow, between husband and wife, between two cities, two nations, or two governments, no harm shall come to him." Most rabbinic discussions of peace focus on internal harmony, how families live together, how neighbors cooperate, how communities stay united. Yet the rabbis also saw no strict boundary between personal peace and world peace. The same principles of empathy and respect could ripple outward, shaping relations between nations. That's why they established a series of laws known in Hebrew literally as "for the sake of the ways of peace." These rules were designed not only to preserve peace among Jews, but also to guide just and compassionate relations between Jews and non-Jews. The rabbis went so far as to call Shalom the summit of all values, the very purpose of the Torah itself. As they taught, all that is written in the Torah was written for the sake of peace. For them, Shalom is woven into the fabric of redemption and the coming of the Messiah. It is said, "The prophets have planted in the mouths of all people nothing so much as peace." And God announces to Jerusalem that Israel will be redeemed only through peace. The rabbis even taught that Shalom is one of the names of God, one of the names of Israel, and one of the names of the Messiah. Yet they also said that even the divine name may be erased for the sake of peace, because peace itself is sacred enough to transcend all other concerns. So, for the rabbis, Shalom is not just something we hope for, it's something we are called to create. To live a life of peace is to live in partnership with God. Throughout rabbinic literature, the sages didn't only praise Shalom, they also wrestled with how peace fits among other great values. What happens when peace conflicts with truth? Or when justice and peace pull in opposite directions? These were not theoretical questions, they were the living tensions of a moral world. Rabbi Joshua ben Korha taught, "Where there is strict justice, there is no peace, and where there is peace, there is no strict justice." To him, perfect justice can sometimes come at the cost of human harmony. So he urged judges to act as arbiters, to seek compromise, to balance fairness with compassion. This, he said, is justice tempered by peace. Others disagreed, insisting that justice must stand even if it pierces the mountain, that right must prevail no matter the cost. This tension between law and mercy, between truth and peace, became a defining theme in rabbinic ethics. On another level, the rabbis debated whether peace should ever outweigh truth. Rabbi Elazar ben Shimon taught, "One may deviate from the truth for the sake of peace." And another tradition said even more directly, "All falsehood is forbidden, but it is permitted to speak untruth if it brings peace between people." These teachings don't celebrate lying. They remind us that peace itself can be a higher form of truth, the truth that life and relationships matter more than winning an argument. But not all the rabbis saw these as competing forces. Some saw them as three aspects of the same divine order. In the Talmud we read, "By three things the world is preserved, by justice, by truth, and by peace, and these three are one." When justice is done, truth and peace are also achieved. In this vision, peace is not the absence of justice or truth, it's their fulfillment. When fairness, honesty, and compassion come together, the world itself stands firm, held, as the rabbis said, by justice, by truth, and by peace. In this lesson, we turn to a subtle yet powerful question. What kind of obligations comes with peace? Is it something we practice only when the opportunity arises, or something we must actively seek out and create? The rabbis noticed a fine distinction in Scripture. Most commandments begin with a condition. If you see, if you meet, if there happens to be. These describe duties that depend on circumstance. If the situation appears, you act. If not, you wait. However, with peace it is different. The Torah says, "Seek peace and pursue it." Not if peace comes your way, but go after it. Seek it where you are. Chase it wherever it might be found. Create the conditions that make peace possible. From this, the rabbis drew a profound conclusion. There are two kinds of obligation. One arises from circumstance, when life presents you with a choice. The other is proactive, when you shape the world so that goodness can happen. And peace, they said, belongs to the second kind. It's not a reaction to events, it's an ongoing pursuit. This distinction invites reflection. Are we waiting for peace to appear? Or are we building it, one choice at a time? To seek peace is to live deliberately, to become the kind of person through whom peace can enter the world. The commandment of Shalom never ends. It is a calling that begins within us and extends outward, to family, community, and creation itself. So, As the rabbis taught, seek peace in your own place and pursue it even to another place. Because peace is not only what we receive, it is what we become. In our final lesson, we move from the human to the divine. For the rabbis, shalom was not only a moral goal or a social virtue, it was a cosmic force, the very work of God. The sages taught that the Holy One makes peace between the supernal and the lower worlds. God brings harmony among the hosts of heaven, between the sun and the moon, between the angels and the stars, between the infinite above and the finite below. In this vision, peace is not merely a human aspiration, it is the structure of creation itself. And yet, these cosmic images lead us right back to earth. The rabbis said, if the heavenly beings, free from envy, hatred, and rivalry, are in need of peace, how much more so are the lower beings who struggle with jealousy, anger, and conflict. In other words, if even the heavens depend on harmony, how much more must we, with all our frailties, labor to build it? The cosmic peace of God becomes our model, a reminder that peace is both divine and deeply human. Every time we pursue shalom among people, we participate in the Creator's own work, restoring balance, healing division, and bringing heaven a little closer to earth. To seek peace is to imitate God. To make peace is to join in creation itself. And in doing so, we become what the rabbis called Root of Shalom, pursuers of peace, partners in the sacred harmony of the world. Thank you for joining us in exploring the true meaning of shalom. We began by uncovering its roots: wholeness, completeness, harmony. We saw how the Bible uses shalom to describe well-being and blessing, and how the rabbis transformed it into a moral calling, the obligation to make peace in our families, our communities, and our world. Then we learned that peace stands beside justice and truth as one of the pillars of creation, that it must be pursued, not just awaited, and that God Himself is the great peacemaker, sustaining harmony in heaven and inviting us to reflect it on earth. To keep learning, explore more courses in Jewish wisdom, literature, and language at torah.immersio.io. Discover the depth of Hebrew words, the beauty of the Torah's text, and the timeless insights that still speak to our lives today. From all of us at Immersio, thank you for learning with us. Shalom.